Hello, hello. Welcome to Talk Football Live.
Hey guys.
Another episode with my ABC crew, Ayo, Biodun, and myself, Charles. How you guys
Yes,
doing
sir.
today?
We're good. We're
All right.
good. Happy to
So
be here.
today we are discussing the FA Cup final and the DFB Pokal, the German, I guess, their version of
The
the FA
German
Cup.
Cup.
And we're deciding, just talking about who's going to win, what are our predictions and how do we think this game is going to pan out. And of course, we're going to start with the FA Cup final between Manchester City and Manchester United because that's the first game of the day. Before we proceed, our subscribers, our fans, remember to subscribe. For those who haven't done that, hit the subscribe button, like videos, share with your friends and family, share with your enemies too. It doesn't matter. They deserve to see this also. All right. FA Cup final, Manchester City and Manchester United. Biodun, we know a lot of things have been going on in the news about Eric Ten Hag, whether he's going to be fired, whether he's not going to be fired, whether it matters if he wins the game or not. Do you think it actually matters if he wins the game tomorrow or it doesn't matter?
Oh, come on, man. I mean, for any manager, it matters, right? Because you need to think about it this way. Outside of the Man U context, every manager wants to win a game and he wants to improve their winning rates, right? Yeah. So a win tomorrow will definitely improve his own resume, improve his winning rate. And it's not just playing and trying to win against an ordinary team. It's trying to win against the league winner. So a win against Man City is something that anyone should celebrate, right? Yep. So definitely it matters for him, number one. Does it matter for keeping his job, for his job security? I don't know the answer to that. As a matter of fact, the speculation has been that the announcement will be made after the FA Cup. So maybe they don't want to mess up the dressing room and they don't want to throw everybody into a panic mode or, a directionless or manage, a group of folks without manager. They don't want to throw them into a disarray. They're trying to keep everything calm and let them focus on the game tomorrow. So it matters. The last point that I will make is it matters because it gives them an opening and an entrance into Europe next season, right?
So
they definitely lost. Go ahead,
it's not yet confirmed then that he's leaving?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not confirmed, but there's a high chance that okay. So I tell you this I heard yesterday. Man United had a meeting with Steve McKenna, who is the Ipswich manager. They've already had a meeting with Steve McKenna, and I think that is disrespectful, and I think that's disappointing, to Ten Hag. And he was asked about that. He said he has no response. He's just going to focus on the game tomorrow. So that meeting already happened between Steve McKenna and Man United.
So let me caveat on that. You said the meeting happened and it's disrespectful, but recently I feel like most clubs have been somewhat disrespectful. Although Tuchel,
who started the disrespect?
Wait now, hold on. Chelsea did not start disrespect because actually I have a bone to pick with Chelsea because last year when we were planning to fire Graham Potter, we hired Lampard as an interim manager while we look for a new coach. I just felt, why couldn't you just leave Potter and look for a new coach while Potter was still managing? But rumor was like, it's not right, it just isn't done that way. But this season, we've seen a lot of people do it that way. I mean, Tuchel said he was going to leave Bayern, and Bayern has been looking for a new manager since kind of mid-season. Look at Barcelona that just hired, what's his name, Hansi Flick today. You can't tell me they hadn't met.
Is Hansi Flick confirmed?
Yes, it's confirmed. It's confirmed. You can't tell me Fabrizio already confirmed it. You can't tell me Hansi Flick was not contacted before they fired Xavi. You can't tell me that because literally it was a back-to-back announcement. Xavi left, Hansi Flick was. So Chelsea didn't start disrespect. In my opinion, Chelsea was actually respectful to Graham Potter last season before they hired what's his name.
I think your defense to me is falling flat, and I'll tell you why it's falling flat because your signal went away. Your signal went straight away to last season. I am talking way before last season. I'm talking about the era of Abramovich.
The era of Abramovich, we fire and hire. We don't hire while the coach is still in.
No, there are always news around who you are talking to, who is coming. Remember the days of
always rumors now. Always rumors.
You probably will forget. It's easier for you guys to forget, but right. But Ayo will probably remember Andre Villalobos, right? AVB, right? Yeah. I remember Villalobos. I remember Guzidik. I remember the guy that actually Di Matteo, right? We knew about these rumors before they were confirmed. So for you to go back to just the season, man, this thing has because remember Abramovich era, he was the sole decider. You want somebody, even players. It was the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Like, so
But I
he
still
didn't
I
need your
still don't
approval.
think
I
I
think
think
That's right.
Aguero's case was always a quick thing. Like it wasn't about it didn't drag, or it doesn't drag as much as this Tenag's case is dragging, and not especially not before a final.
Charles.
But moving on.
So
dragging.
It's been on for a minute, but let's move past that. I was
yeah,
gonna go to Ayo and talk about the City and Man U. Just another question for you. I know Man U is playing City, the champions of England right now, and it's easy to predict that City would win. But based on Man U's injuries, based on the issues going on in Manchester United, what can Ten Hag do right? Let's assume his job is, this win is dependent on his job. What can he do right to get a win in this game?
oh man, you made that difficult. What can he do right? Like, what could he possibly do to try and win this game?
Yep.
Phew. Um, so I think the one thing that I've seen that has been going good for Manchester United recently is Amrabat. Amrabat brings a lot of energy to the team when he plays. I don't know why he doesn't start every game, but I would say he has to maybe go back to what I think is a feature of his football, which is to hit teams quickly, right? Manchester United, if I remember from every time when I saw them in the preseasons, like when they were trying to execute and even at their best times during games, it's that they absorb the pressure and then when they attack, they break so quickly. They're usually hitting Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford, whoever it is on the wings, and it's like quick breaks, quick passes, breaking out of the back. Out of the back, they're suffering a lot from injuries at the moment. So Casemiro has been playing a lot as centre back. I would say they have to stay very compact and maybe look to the likes of Casemiro to play long balls out the back and just look for someone out the wing. So they're gonna have to play defensive a lot, especially
Yep.
because they don't have reliable defenders. I think they're missing four center backs at the moment:
Yep.
Maguire, Varane, Lisandro Martinez. Who am I missing? Maguire. Did I mention Maguire?
Maguire, Varane, Lisandro Martinez. I mean, Luke Shaw is out too, right?
Luke Shaw is out. I think Johnny Evans. Is Johnny Evans fit at the moment?
Lindelof.
Lindelof is who I was trying to remember.
I think Evans is a doubt. Evans may be playing along with Casemiro.
Missing out Trent. Those guys might be available.
Yeah, so considering that, I think they have to just focus on staying compact because City will dominate the ball. This is not like when City went to Tottenham. I mean, there are very few games where City is going to let you have possession because you're forcing them to. Man U is not capable of playing possession football to keep the ball away from City. So I'm going to say they have to just stay compact, try to absorb the pressure, and look for what you can get on the break. Fernandes is going to be key. Rashford would be key. Mainu does a good job of, he's very pressure resistant. So if they can get him, to help play the ball out the back and look for those guys out on the wings, they have some opportunity there.
Okay, so you mentioned something. Good point. But let's talk about Casemiro, which, in my opinion, I don't know. I feel like I'm sure you guys watched the Crystal Palace game.
Oh yeah.
Probably the game after that, where Casemiro was like the main culprit in the defense.
Oh, yeah.
Should Casemiro still be playing defense based on those performances?
He should not be playing as a center back because when you're a midfielder, you have that happen. I mean, this is Casemiro. He's 35. So first of all, he's no longer at his quickest he's no longer at his mobile best. And even at his best, he wasn't the quickest on the pitch, right? And when you're a midfielder, right? So I've played in those positions sometimes. You have the opportunity, or there is some gap where you can take more risks because there's someone behind you that can cover.
Exactly.
If you try to intercept the ball or win the ball. When you're a center back, you don't have that opportunity for mistakes. If you're in line with your defense, you're the last line, right? So if you're not breaking the offside trap along with the rest of your team, you're essentially playing all the attackers onside. You're essentially saying, I'm going to take on all the offense by yourself, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
So I don't think Casemiro should be playing in defense. I know Carragher made the comment that he has maybe 2 or 3 games left at the top flight. I don't think that's accurate. I think it's just a feature of the fact that he's playing for the first time probably in his career as a center back where he has never played before, where
Yep.
mentally it's a different mindset. No matter how good you are it's like saying you want Casemiro to go play as a striker or as a winger. You put any top level footballer in a new position, it takes some time to learn that position. But at the moment, it's what they have.
Yeah, I feel if they could pull out Malacia from the academy, the likes of Menu, I actually think they should find someone. Like there's a guy that's been coming on. Biodun, I don't remember his name.
Can I jump in and can I
yes. But I was trying just real quick because everybody remember the young centre back that's been coming in for Man U.
I mean, I don't know if you're talking about Kwabala, right?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Anyway, the point I'm going to have to defend Casemiro here. I'm going to have to defend Casemiro real good. Again, I don't. There are things that Carragher would say that I would respect and probably pay attention to. But lately, it's sounding in a way that it's becoming irritating. That sometimes you wonder why he's speaking this way. Casemiro is still one of the best player that has ever played this game.
Yeah.
Let's put it into context. They had crisis. They had injury crisis. There was nobody. There was no natural center back, even left and right back that you can move into that. Luke Shaw was injured too. So nobody. Now, what I take from that is he basically took responsibility on himself to say, I'm playing for the team. It doesn't matter the role that I play. Remember the game after that, there were rumors about players faking injury, that they were fit enough to play, but they basically caved and they refused to play. For example, Lisandro Martinez said he was going to play the Arsenal game, which was after the Crystal Palace game. And he didn't play the game, right? And he said he could have played. See, guys, it's like we forget things very quickly. Many years ago, we know of players that played with injury, that played with injections. Yeah. That is the passion of the game. That is the love of the game. Most of those players wanted to play the final in Wembley. So they try to keep themselves fresh and try not to take the risk. If somebody would step up and step out and say, I am going to play for this club and I don't care what role I will play into, I think it needs to be appreciated and I think that should be elevated more than the errors he made. Fine, the errors were costly, but I think we can talk about the errors, but not making it an headline. I don't know when Carragher and all these other British media will talk so much about the blunders and the low performances of Scott McTominay, but the day he scores, he becomes their best player. You understand? So I think that is wrong to categorize a player that has played. And I said he doesn't remember anything. Yes, but I have seen him in the colors of Madrid. Sometimes whenever they change situations and they basically just go back and play back three. He's done it before. The Champions League against Liverpool, the last Champions League that Liverpool played the final that they lost to them, Casemiro was basically, I don't even remember how many times he went past the half line. He played like, a very disciplined style. He stayed all the way because they let Liverpool come all the way out, attack them, and they soaked all the pressure. So this is the guy that knows how to play defensive. And I think he felt that was a skill that I could easily transfer into playing a center. Now, did he have mistakes? Yes, of course. If you're not a natural center back, you will make mistakes. The goal Arsenal scored against them. He should have come out quicker, and that would have put Havertz on offside. That was the only mistake the guy made. But nobody talked about Wan-Bissaka coming down to clear the line against Trossard. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know why you capitalize on Casemiro's case when the guy was basically volunteering as a team player. I don't know if you listen to Onana as well, their goalkeeper. He said they had injuries. Everybody had to play that. Even he himself, if he was asked to go and play striker, he would gladly go do it. So let's appreciate that for what he had done. They had injury crisis. There was basically nobody. And the manager didn't trust the young players to put them in there. So he trusted his old guards.
So let me say this. Carragher may have blamed Casemiro, but I'm not blaming Casemiro. I am more kind of shining light on Ten Hag. Now, I respect Casemiro for what he did. I respect Casemiro for stepping up and being able to take that role. But let's focus on Ten Hag. And let's focus on the Crystal Palace game. Crystal Palace beat Manchester United, I think, 5-0, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. 5, right? And I think 3 of those goals were, quote-unquote, Casemiro's fault. After watching that game, me personally, if I were the manager, the next centre-back that will play in the next game will be anybody but Casemiro. I'm sorry. Because it's obvious it's not his natural role. It's obvious is because if you as good as he is, as mature as he is, as experienced as he is, make one mistake and fix it. But if you're going to make 3 in one game, it means that role is not for you.
The question is, who else will play in that?
That's where the academy
else.
That's where the coach comes. The way he picked Casemiro, he can find somebody else. For him to use Casemiro in game.
Go look at the bench. Go look at the. There was nobody. That's what I'm thinking. There was nobody.
I think you're getting my point wrong. I get your point of there's nobody on the bench. Visually, we can't see, but the manager knows the players.
The players
knows.
You have to play a registered player. You have to play a registered player at the beginning of the season. There's between 25 to 26 or 27 that you register. He has to be one of those registered players. There was nobody.
So here's what I'm saying again. There's always somebody. If gone to his head, he cannot play Casemiro and he must find somebody else. He would have found somebody else. And I'm saying the Crystal Palace game was a gun to your head moment. Making 3 mistakes in one game as an experienced player means you cannot play that position in the next game. So when he played that position in the next game against Arsenal, I was shocked. And I'll be shocked if he plays it against City in the final.
Did you guys? I think there are two sides.
You guys give him credit against Newcastle because he played Crystal Palace, played Arsenal, and played Newcastle. And Newcastle basically he won that game because he had 2 clearances. I don't know if you watched the Newcastle game. He was probably one of their best players, and he played that same centre back. Charles, the point I am trying to make, I hear you, is that when you play somebody in his unnatural position, right? Yep. He needs to learn through that, make the mistake. When you take him off, and you know that you're going to need him the next game, you don't take him off the mid game and bring him back the 3rd game. Basically, what Ten Hag did was, I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to play you through this crisis. So this crisis, we will lose one, we will get better, and we'll get better and better. That's essentially what I think Ten Hag did.
I have a question.
Yeah, I think there are 2 sides to the coin, right? When you're faced with this kind of situation, which is one, so I get what you're saying about, if you mess up so bad in that situation, you probably don't want to play that play again. I think one side of that, which Biodun is calling out, is when you're learning a new position. Think of this. It's the same way as maybe playing a 17-year-old or 18-year-old for the first time. They are going to make mistakes. It's just the same thing with Casemiro playing in center back. It's not his position. So you're going to have to let him make those mistakes, and over time he will improve, right? So that's one side of it. The second part of it is, you're right, this is where managers get to earn their money. So maybe you don't play Casemiro in that role, but maybe you switch your formation up somehow, or you find a player from the academy somewhere. By the way, you can play academy players. They don't have to be registered. Yep. So I think players below the age of 21 don't have to be registered to play in the league. So as a manager, you have to find alternatives despite your injury crisis. You can't always just say, oh, we have injuries and we have this player who's struggling. So I think that's the other side of it.
So I have a yes or no question for you guys before we move on to the DFB Pokal game. If you were in Ten Hag's shoes, would you play Casemiro as a centre back in the final against Man City? Yes or no? Based on what you've seen so far.
It's only a yes or no. Because remember the context you started with. The context was that they didn't have options. They had injury. Today, they have players that have come back from injury. So he doesn't need to play centre back. Right?
Like who?
To answer your question, I believe Lindelof should be available, but Maguire is back on injury bed. So Maguire won't be available. But I think Varane is back. And I think Lindelof might be available. So they might have Lindelof, between Lindelof, Evans, Maguire, Kwabuala. They might have Oguneye. So they have folks to think about and not play Casemiro. So to your point, he doesn't have to play Casemiro. And I don't expect Casemiro to be played as a centre back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Let's move on then. Talking about the DFB Pokal.
So it's City for the win?
I mean, we are all predicting that.
No, not we all. Why are you speaking for me, bro?
You are predicting Man U for the win because you don't want to play in Europa League.
I don't care what you say. That was the question you asked me. Is who am I predicting? So
what are you predicting? Sorry.
Man United. Okay, Biodun, we hear you.
We hear you. Just because you don't want Chelsea to win in the Europa League.
No, I didn't say that. That's me.
May God help you. Biodun.
All right, moving on to the DFB.
DFB. There's not much to say about the DFB though. We know Leverkusen is facing a team whose name I can't even pronounce. And
Kaiserslautern.
Yes, Leverkusen lost Europa final.
They finally lost. Finally lost their first game of the season. Finally.
You guys seem too happy. Do you think there's a chance of them losing this, Biodun?
No, but could it happen? Yes, it's football. Anything can happen. So
Yes.
yeah, but I don't see them losing. I think
I think if they were dealing with injuries like Man U are or some other unforeseen circumstance, then yes. But considering that Kaiserslautern is not even in the Bundesliga, they're in the second division,
Mm-hmm.
and they're coming up against arguably probably top three, top five teams in Europe at the moment. I don't think they stand a chance. There's too much quality in that team.
Okay, fair enough.
except
And
Tottenham is going to play them the way Atalanta played them. So I don't know if you analyze the Atalanta game. Atalanta game, they basically pressed them and they made Leverkusen work.
Hmm.
I thought that was the first game of Leverkusen that I would watch that they were not better than the opponent. Most of their other games, they were always better than the opponent, and that always gave them that confidence to come back, even if they were a goal or two down. In this one, I didn't see any section of the game that they were better than Atalanta. Atalanta basically analyzed and started pressing them up forward. So they forced them into making those errors that led to the goal. If Kaiserslautern can do that for 90 minutes, they might have a chance, but I don't know if they can.
Let's see. All right, awesome. We have another big day ahead of us
yep.
tomorrow. Finals, two finals, German Cup and English Cup final.
And
And
so
stay with us.
just to be safe, Ayo, we're predicting
Yeah,
Bayer Leverkusen wins the German Cup.
I believe so. Correct.
Biodun, any objections like you did for FA Cup?
Let me stick with Kaiserslautern, all because of the old days. The old days of Caribbean Jigwe. I'm sticking with Kaiserslautern.
Ayo, over to you.
All right, stick with us, guys. Stick with us, guys. We've got a lot coming this summer for you. Euro 2024 is coming up. We're going to
Yep.
be looking at all the teams, analyzing the competition, and we're going to go through all the games as well. So if you've stuck with us this far and you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe, stay with us, like this video, leave some comments, engage us. Let's talk. Let's talk
All
football
right.
like we love to do. All right, guys. Thank you.